I want to thank our witnesses for being here today and for their lives of service to this great country. It's true, we're seeing an increase in positive COVID-19 cases. The United States is testing more people than any other country, over 35 million thus far, with 637,000 on June 25th alone. The most recent data available. The Trump administration has also successfully procured millions of PPE, including through aggressive utilization of the Defense Production Act, as you guys have all mentioned today. As of June 26th, efforts on the part of FEMA, HHS, and the private sector have led to the delivery of the following: 167.1 million N95 respirators, 682.5 million surgical masks, 27.3 million face shields, 299.2 million surgical gowns and coveralls, and 17.1 billion gloves. And as far as ventilators go, the administration has assured thus far that we have more than enough, so much so that numerous states are returning their ventilators to the Strategic National Stockpile. Washington State returned 400, California 500. But instead of working with the president to help Americans, my colleagues across the aisle would rather politicize this public health crisis. In one sentence, the majority's leadership said, quote, "We're not here to place blame," end quote. And then the very next sentence, they bashed the president, suggesting his culpability in the deaths of Americans. And that happened just today. We can't have a true assessment of our response because this hyper-polarized environment makes every single action a political failure. We've got to get past this in our country if we're to come through this. Additionally, President Trump has had an all-hands-on-deck mentality to develop the COVID-19 vaccine. Historically, it takes an average of 10 to 15 years to develop a vaccine. It's a multi-step process that takes decades. Dr. Fauci has stated that we should have a couple 100 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine by the beginning of 2021. This is an incredible feat. It took 42 years to develop a vaccine for chickenpox, 43 for Ebola, 47 for a polio vaccine. So how are we moving so fast that public health experts think we can have a vaccine in 12 months? For one, we're conducting multiple phases and tests simultaneously rather than one at a time, which greatly increases the speed of development, but also increases the manpower and the expense. And thankfully, President Trump has devoted the full resources of the federal government to this crucial endeavor. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal has noted a combination of other improvements, such as enhancement of sequencing, advancements in bioengineering techniques, and unprecedented government support. Let me emphasize that last point again. The journal notes, and I quote, "Unprecedented government support," end quote, is a primary cause of the breakneck speed of development of the vaccine. While some prefer to sit on the sidelines and attack the administration, President Trump has been boldly acting to help find a cure. He launched Operation Warp Speed, aimed at developing a vaccine by the end of the year. He selected 5 coronavirus vaccine candidates as finalists, pledged future COVID vaccines will be free for vulnerable Americans, prodded top health officials to speed up development, and streamlined FDA approval processes and requirements. This administration's response has been unprecedented. This committee, on the other hand, Mr. Chairman, we still haven't held a single hearing or briefing on China's responsibility for COVID-19, not one. According to Columbia University, not necessarily a bastion of conservatism, I might add, and reported by ABC News, certainly not a Republican news organization, had China notified America just 1 week sooner, Columbia University predicts 60.1% of Americans' casualties could have been avoided, meaning China's deception resulted in 60% of our casualties. Have we spent 60% of our time looking into China's actions? Aren't we the task force designed to look into the cause of American deaths due to COVID? Have we on this committee spent 50% of our time looking into China's failure and deception? There's 60% of our casualties, according to Columbia University. We haven't spent a single minute investigating what the scientists at Columbia University said potentially killed 60% of our deaths. That is a failure of this committee. Yet all the other side wants to do is point the finger at President Trump. That's sad. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.